So you can recognize that you're being unreasonable.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you feel it and you have no idea why.
No, yeah. And I'm at a point in my journey now that I've done enough work where I can feel it and address it coming from an observant side. So it's like I'm looking in, I'm going, what is this? Like, what is happening right now? Like, it's in my chest, it's moving, it feels fiery, like, and I'll talk about it, you know, which I think takes a lot of pressure off of the experience, whatever that is. Totally. So I spoke to her about it. I was like, I think there's something that needs to, you know, show up. So I used one of my tools that I've learned from a book that I forget what it's called, but I think it's something to do with inner child. I don't know what. But basically what you do is that when there is a trigger coming up about your inner child, you meditate on, really bringing her forward or him forward, asking her to speak to you, to show up in your body, to just bring her forward, basically. And then you bring your journal and you write a question with your dominant hand. So what I did is that I asked her how old she was, and then I would answer as my inner child with my opposite hand. And so the answers that always, honestly, it's so weird because it happens so clearly. It's almost like two sides of your brain. Your adult self with your child self is having a conversation about your trauma.
And so you're writing the question with your dominant hand in your adult voice.
Yes.
Speaking to your child, your inner child, and your inner child is answering with your non-dominant hand.
Yes.
And first of all, the answer written with your, let's say my left, is always going to look like a kid wrote it.
Exactly.
So that must be freaky just reading it anyway.
It's so weird.
But what do you get out of it?
So I'm like, okay, obviously there's a trauma, but I can't even tell how old I am. And like, I need to figure that out. So I wrote down like, okay, how old are you? 7 years old. I'm like, 7. I'm like, I don't remember what happened at 7. I'm like, okay. So I keep going. I'm like, where are you? At school. I'm like, how do you feel? She goes, I'm sad. I said, why? She said, Mom forgot about me. And I wrote, is there anything I can do for you? She says, no. I'm like, can I be there for you? She says, yes. I'm like, okay. And I said, are you angry? Yes. Are you sad? Yes. So now I'm like getting really clear on like the emotions.
And you're not thinking about the answers? You're just
I'm just going for it. Yeah.
Wow.
Like I'm not even like hesitating one bit.
That's free.
It's so honestly, like I would highly suggest to anybody to do this.
I feel like I'm wound up too tight to like, I want to control everything.
I think, well, I thought so too, but like I just gave myself permission to try. And I think that was where most of the power came from, you know?
Do you think that this is a nice segue to time travel, but do you think that like if life is a loaf of bread and you're, let's say, I don't want to say halfway through because you're not halfway through, but let's just say 38% through and you're speaking to the child that's 10% through, you're still all on this loaf of bread. Are you changing well, you are changing the timeline because you addressing that child back in the day is creating a new timeline now. So is dealing with your issues is it in essence creating another reality for you, a better reality where this inner child, like let's say that inner child is existing right now because time doesn't exist, and you're speaking to little Tasha Krettel, who's 7 years old, and and she's all sad because her mom left her at school.
Yeah.
Like you're sending those waves back. So now she's feeling better for some reason. She has no idea why. And that just transformed you in the present.
That's actually a really cool way to put it.
Do you know what I mean?
I really agree with that.
Well, that's what you're doing.
Yeah.